Welcome to another episode of Port to Esports. I'm Derek Polinsky, and big news coming out of Nintendo's stream today. Kingdom Hearts is coming to Switch via the cloud. A lot of new Mii characters are getting some skins, including Doom Guy, which I'm very excited for. But the biggest news, the one we're all hyped about, Sora is finally in Smash Brothers, the 82nd character to join, the 12th DLC character. And joining me today is Alan. Alan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Big Kingdom Hearts super fan. And Max, the best hair in the biz. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Darren.
Let's get to it, guys. Alan, let's break some basics down. Kingdom Hearts is notoriously confusing as a story, but let's just break down some of the basics of like who Sora is, what he's about, where he's coming from.
Yeah, totally. So Sora is the protagonist of Kingdom Hearts. So in the game, you basically go around and save worlds from either Disney or Pixar, IPs. So you're fighting threats like the Heartless, Organization 13, and then also Disney villains. So there's a big variety of enemies. And Sora's kind of, his whole personality is based around kind of being just the friendliest guy in the world across the universe. So everywhere he goes, he makes new friends, he saves new friends. And so it's really cool to see him become a part of, the Smash Brothers IP, where it already brings in all of these different characters from different universes. So it fits right in. Like you mentioned, Kingdom Hearts is very confusing. And not only that, but Disney's also very, very hesitant with who they allow to handle their IPs. So it's really interesting to see somebody outside of just Disney Interactive handling these characters. And I think that Smash Brothers is the perfect place to do it.
Absolutely. There were plenty of reports where Disney was like, no, we don't want to give any of our IPs over to Smash Brothers. There was someone thing in February 2020 that was leaked via Kind of Funny Games where they approached Disney Japan, Nintendo did, to try and get Sora in, and it was reportedly shut down. But here we are now. Wishlist floated around for DLC characters for Smash Brothers for a long time. You had people wanting Master Chief. You had people wanting an actual Doom Guy, but the Mii skin is actually getting a lot of praise. It looks really cool. Even the Smash Bros. Subreddit was a little debated because when the reveal started, it was like a bonfire thing in the background that Mario was looking at. It looked like a bonfire, and everyone was like, Dark Souls, which I thought would have been funny because the dodge would have just been a roll all the time via Dark Souls, which I thought would have been great. But 6 years ago, there was a Smash poll for which character people would want to see in the game. And then it was Bayonetta and Sora were heavy favorites. Bayonetta ended up winning, but Nintendo couldn't reveal the results at the time because Sora just really wasn't up for grabs at the time via what we were just talking about for Disney. Bayonetta was the most realizable character. But now we have Sora. So given the hype of Smash, given how big of a game it is, given how much it is in spirit of collaboration that this game comes together, was Sora just inevitable, Max?
I would say it's inevitable, Darren. I think for the longest time, Sora has a great kit to already be implemented into Smash, and from the video we saw today, it's clearly possible to see what kind of interesting maneuvers that can be brought out and really give a character like Sora a unique identity into the scene. And I think everything that we've seen so far, it was pretty inevitable. And I mean, we've had already so many sword characters already in Smash Ultimate. I feel like it's a natural fit for Sora.
Alan, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I agree that the whole nature of Sora was kind of inevitable, but I think it really was up to Disney. I think Disney had the final word on whether or not it happened. So I'm just happy that they were able to, kind of take this chance and, do something that was a little bit more out of their wheelhouse, because like I was mentioning, it's so rare that they let something like this happen that it just makes it even more special to have a character that's, this iconic from a series that's, been spanning 20 years at this point, be a part of Smash Brothers and, have both of those worlds collide.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and I'm really happy both for the Smash community and anyone else who's a Kingdom Hearts fan. I mean, that's only going to be good for the entirety of that scene. Let's jump a little bit onto the esports side real quick. Max, DLC characters have seen ample use in the Ultimate Professional circuit. MKLeo has won more than his fair share of tournaments with Joker. Zachary also used Joker. Dabuz uses Min Min. Tweak has played Sephiroth. Cosmos and Spargo use Pyra and Mythra. You think Sora's going to get picked up? I mean, some of his moves
absolutely.
look really strong.
Oh, 100%, Darren. I think the two big factors to break down between both those sets of DLC characters they mentioned was that they're either really heavy zoners or they're very fast and aggressive characters. In the case of Pyra and Mythra, you kind of have both, and that's why she's one of the best in the entire game. That's why out of most of those players you've listed, almost all of them have seen at least a little bit of very successful gameplay with Pyra and Mythra. And Sora, from the breakdown that we saw, so much multi-attacks, a deflector, a counter, multiple jumps as well, a fantastic recovery using their side B. There's a lot of different things that can be done with Sora that allows a lot of counterplay, and not a whole lot of counterplay against Sora themselves. And as that truck goes by, it's also amazing to think about what kind of aerial attacks that Sora can bring out. Because like you mentioned, MKLeo first popularized Joker way back in 2019, all because of the counter aerial play.
Yeah, he has a lot of crazy movement and combos off of that movement. When I was watching his gameplay, I was like, this guy just wants to create a zone that he can control and then move you across the stage if he needs to with, his neutral special with the thunder or his side special with his tracking there. Yeah, he's going to be, I think, really strong. So I'm interested to see who will pick him up in the professional scene. Speaking of the professionals, let's go look at some of the reactions from the pros, starting with T1's MK Leo. Over on Twitter, he said, "The ultimate game is now completed. Thank you so much for everything, Sora Sakurai." I think it'll be interesting if MK Leo picks him up, because then that'll be another character he has popularized and then, likely dominated with as a DLC character. Moving on to ESAM. It's actually Sora. What?
That was my reaction.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, that was my reaction. I literally jumped out of my seat and just started looking around, just like pinching myself, trying to see if it was a real thing. And, the more I saw, the more excited I got.
Did you go grab your Keyblades off the wall?
I did. I actually, I have one right above where my PC is, and I think I was shaking so hard that I created an earthquake, and it fell off right into my hand, which was just, it was.
That's
it was
what I felt
destiny
this
at that
morning.
point.
Yeah. Everyone was tweeting about it. LA earthquake.
And thunderstorms.
Hungrybox tweeted out, bruh, with just the Sora is finally here graphic. And it's apt that they use finally in that's not on accident. People have been clamoring for Sora for over 6 years, knowing that he was a hugely popular character in that poll. So that was very apropos for them to have finally here within that graphic. TSM Leffen. So this is the end, huh? Feels weird. Happy for the people who wanted Sora, but he looks low tier AF, LMAO. Wish they added simple and clean, though. I watched Leffen's reactions to it. He was whelmed to underwhelmed. He didn't necessarily think that he didn't seem impressed from what I was watching. Hungrybox did, ESAM did, but Leffen was just kind of like, he was even like, oh man, after watching this gameplay and after playing Nick All-Stars Brawl, this looks very slow, which I thought was interesting. But Alan, I asked you about what's simple. I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy, but I asked you, what's this simple and clean thing?
Yeah, so simple and clean was actually the main theme for Kingdom Hearts 1. There is a lot of music to go along with Kingdom Hearts, but simple and clean was kind of like that first, the first big, song that you associated with the game. And then later on, Dearly Beloved, and then Face My Fears, all these different, really, really, really good tracks.
Yeah, I mean, Disney is known for amazing music across the board. I'm sure they had something to do with that soundtrack and creating all those iconic songs with Square Enix. Moving on to Liquid Buzz. Floaty zoning sortie. Hold up, that's up my alley. Thinking emoji. Max, are we going to see DeBuzz pick him up?
Oh, probably so. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of top-tier play in the beginning with Sora, just because of nostalgia alone, and also the floaty top-tier play that DeBuzz mentioned. I think ESAM did the best job so far from what I've seen with an analytical breakdown about what could potentially be great about Sora, and a lot of it that I wanted to highlight was his zoning capabilities at times, along with the aggressive play. Like his thunder attack is able to create a lot of space, but also his escape options off stage are frankly incredible.
They're a little wild, I agree. Alan, I know that you're the super fan here, so I wanted to give you the floor on his design and costumes. Why don't we start with the costumes?
So these are some of my favorite parts about the announcement today. So if you look at all the different color variations that they showed during the stream today, each iteration kind of goes through the mainline series of games. So his base skin is going to be his costume from Kingdom Hearts 1, which of course, if you ever played it, you know it's the iconic, giant zippers, big shoes, ridiculous gloves, all that great stuff. If you look at his powered up forms, he has Valor and Wisdom from Kingdom Hearts 2, as well as Kingdom Hearts 3's ultimate form, which is different from Kingdom Hearts 2 because this one has the cool stripes and stuff, which looks super cool. Here you can see the Kingdom Hearts 1 costume, which, I mean, you look at it and you're like, this is nostalgia. Kingdom Hearts 2, of course. This outfit, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, wow, I'm emo. He has black in it now, so this is so cool. And then, of course, you have Dream Drop Distance as well. And then finally, the Timeless River look, which actually has specific facial expressions, which I thought was a really nice touch because it just it still takes that same, base skin of the character, but it just like makes it just look a little bit more special. And it does have, each individual skin does have their own loading screen artwork, which is really, really cool. And I think it was a really interesting touch that not every character does. And you can see the posters over here, which I need 10 billion of them. I want to put them all over my house. This will be my wallpaper. Just so much of what happened in terms of costuming and just the attention to detail for the original artworks and design for this game looks fantastic. You can really tell they put a lot of effort into it. And
the Timeless River one is obviously a callback to Steamboat Willie, where Mickey Mouse made his first appearance. I'm getting that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the playable maps in Kingdom Hearts 2, which was the whole aesthetic of the entire world was in that sort of retro looking one. If you see, it's black and white, so it has that that nice shading. And oh my god, just look at that bottom right picture. He's so happy. I can't wait to play as this character. He looks so fun and he looks so cool.
We touched a little bit on the music when we talked about Left. Is there anything else you wanted to add there?
Yeah, so a lot of the music that they added was not, the main themes of the games, not like Simple and Clean from Kingdom Hearts 1, Sanctuary from Kingdom Hearts 2, or Face My Fears from Kingdom Hearts 3. So none of that's going to be included in this DLC, but they did announce right here, as you can see on screen, that there is a version of Kingdom Hearts 1's menu theme, Dearly Beloved, but you need to have a save file from Melody of Memory in order to unlock that. So if you've been wanting to have a reason to get Melody of Memory, this is the perfect time to do it because you get a little bit of extra bonus content, which is super cool.
Heck yeah. So let's talk about the mean potatoes. How does he play? What's he look like when he's doing all that cool shit on screen? Let's talk about his moves. From what they were saying on the stream, he's a lighter fighter. His normals are a little bit slower, but they stay out on screen a little bit longer, so that balances that out. That more time to hit, I think, will give him a little bit more zoning capability as a sword character. He also has 4 different variations on his 3-hit combo, each having different properties depending on you finish them. What were you guys' initial thoughts on those opening moves?
For me, I feel like he's a version of Hero that I don't hate. Because he has the same exact abilities, right? Well, not the same exact abilities, but he has the same transversal of changing abilities within a single command, right? He has different magic abilities. I'm not really sure what the proper terminology is, but Hero had to load up like 17 different menus to select the right move, and a lot of it was RNG about what you could select. But at least now with Sora, you have a cycle between 3 pre-placed different magic attacks that always go in the same exact order, and that's really good for a competitive standpoint. You always know what to expect next. You can have a lot of setup opportunities doing that. But with Hero, a lot of it was RNG, and I feel like after the first maybe 2, maybe even up to like 6 months of him being played, you just didn't see Hero again because it wasn't fun for either the user or for the opponent. But I think Sora's a great answer to that, right? He's a little bit lighter, he's a little bit floatier, and we mentioned before, a lot of offstage opportunities as well, but still has that same zoning mechanic with the magic that was really there with Hero, and there for a lot of other DLC characters as well, but I feel like that was the main takeaway for Hero. But now that Sora has it, the lifespan, what little of it was already for Hero is just not there anymore.
Yeah, Levin did mention Yeah, yeah. If you pick hero, you might as well just throw yourself off the stage. Levin did mention that the lack of RNG on that neutral special was really nice. So interesting that you brought that up. That was one of the first things you kind of thought of, where you were comparing him to, he was like hero but better because now he doesn't have this RNG, or at least that's one reason. One thing that I noticed during that presentation was this wicked stupid combo of a up throw into a 3-hit combo, into an up special, into a side special for 3 more hits. ESAM reacted to it on his stream as well, and he was pretty flabbergasted by it. Doesn't look too hard to pull off. It looked flashy as hell. Max, you did talk about the specials. Alan, I want to get your input on the specials that you were seeing, both in terms of gameplay and also where they're coming from in the Kingdom Hearts universe.
Absolutely, yeah. So there was a lot of attention to detail in terms of how, they're really replicating his aerial style combat from the original games. That's how you did most of your combos throughout the entire series, specifically in 2 and 3. I think 3 is where they really perfected that sort of flow state between, starting a combo and just staying in the air for, 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, it felt like, just because there is so much of that focus around, getting your enemies in the air and just finish them off before moving on to the next one.
He's got the juggles.
Yes, he does. Exactly. They even added some of the moves from the original games. If you look at his down air, it's going to be Hurricane Blast, which you can unlock in the games. Sonic Blade is a side special. They even added, this like little lock-on animation that you can see on screen right now from the original games whenever you do that side special, which was a really nice touch. And then also, his neutrals are his spells. Like Max was saying, they're not RNG, they do cycle. So that is a little bit different from how it was in the original games. But it's cool that they added them, and they even added some of the more, not as consistent spells that you would use in Stopka, Eroga, and Kiraga that are all his taunts. So obviously you're not going to have a self-healing spell in Smash, but you can still include it as a taunt to make fun of your enemies.
Well, I mean, hero. But...
Oh yeah, hero. And Peach, I think, also.
Did we find a use for hero? Oh, I felt bad. We were bashing him so much. Counter. Oh man.
Well, you'll get him like once every few years, like in his command menu.
Every few years, yeah. Because you're only going to play him once every few years. We were talking about his recovery, and with his up smash, his up special, as well as his side special, he looks to have one of the better recoveries of the game. Is it the best recovery in the game?
No, it is not the best recovery in the game, but it's definitely pretty close. One thing that I thought was really interesting about Sora's recovery, and again, this is all just like, first day footage, so we don't have the full in-depth frame data for the most part of it. But one thing I really did like was that his standard recovery is pretty standard. It reminds me a lot of any other recovery, especially Link's, for example, or any of the Links in the game.
It does, look a lot like the spinny sword slash.
But the side B, I think, is the more interesting one, because generally that's not really a recovery that you would generally think of, but it has a lot of interesting maneuvers. But because you only can use it 3 different times, and I believe from the video, when you use the side B, it auto locks onto an opponent or to the stage and gives you the best possible route. But then, once it does that same, I guess, dash, I don't know what to call it, 3 times, it puts you into a free fall. That reminds me a lot of Meta Knight's neutral special, where he would go for the tornado and have a great recovery, or I guess pseudo recovery himself, but would also go into a free fall. But when he had that in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, it was one of the most broken moves in the game, but it was heavily nerfed going into Smash 4 and Ultimate, to the point where he hit Meta Knight on the tier list, almost because of how free-fally and how damaging that can be in a set is. It's not really the best option anymore. So I'm definitely curious to see whether or not pro players want to utilize either the side special or go for the full recovery, trying to get back onto the stage.
Rip Meta Knight. He was one of my go-tos back in the day.
He was everybody's in Brawl. That's why he was so broken.
Him, Kirby, and Sonic, or not Sonic. I liked Sonic, but I meant
Sonic was
Solid
great.
Snake. Yeah, he still is.
I love Snake.
Gotta go fast.
Still good recovery.
That's true.
For both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, lastly, about his moveset, we had talked a little bit before jumping on here about his final smash. I don't know what the hell is going on with it. Again, I fully admit I am not a Kingdom Hearts player. I fully am excited for everyone who wants Sora and got Sora in the game. But he puts them in a giant keyhole and then shoots a laser beam at them. And
Yeah.
you said that that makes sense to you and you understand why they picked that one. So I want to ask you what the hell's going on first. And number two, you mentioned you wanted something else. So let's go through both those.
So his ultimate smash is him essentially sealing the keyhole for the world that he's in, which is how you finish pretty much every single world that you visit within the Kingdom Hearts franchise. You're going to these worlds that aren't supposed to be connected, and then you're sealing them off so that way they preserve their integrity or whatever. So the thing is, it fits perfectly with what you're going for thematically, but I really wish they would have added, some sort of summon or, a character or a ride like they did in, pretty much all the Kingdom Hearts games. Specifically in Kingdom Hearts 3, you had the ability to, summon both characters and rides from the Disney theme parks, which I think was one of the coolest things that they implemented. One of the first battles that you go into the Big Thunder Mountain like train where you're fighting, one of the Colossi from Hercules. It's this really, really cool sequence. You can, summon the Pirates of the Caribbean ride where, you're spinning around and you're shooting water at everybody. You can go into the Mad Party Teacup ride from the Disney parks, or, even the carousel. There's so many different variations that they could have gone with, or even summoning like a character. Stitch was one of my favorite go-to ones. You could do any of the characters from Lion King could also come and help you out, bounce around. I think that would have been a perfect way to integrate that Disney side of it. I understand why they didn't, because Disney and their IPs, they're very protective of that. So having them seal the enemy characters within the keyhole makes perfect sense.
Makes sense to me. And I do think that the reason that you're not getting some of the things that you talked about is just bringing too many IPs. I mean, even people are lamenting that Donald and Goofy, Sora's, partners throughout the series, aren't even making some sort of appearance within the game. I'm going to guess that it's just like, here's Sora, and that's about as far as we're going to go on the Disney side of things.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Sora's, like a little, like a degree away from being a Disney IP, because it's, that collaboration between Square and Disney rather than just being a Disney IP.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about his stage a little bit. I know you got really excited about that. Break down a little bit for us.
Yeah, so, his stage is Hollow Bastion. This is the point after it's been destroyed, after Birth by Sleep, but before it's restored into Radiant Garden. So it's, it's kind of that in between that you see in Kingdom Hearts 1, and then I think at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. So one of the interesting features that they added is, the map itself, aside from looking gorgeous and kind of doing this fly through of this beautiful and iconic map, is it actually transitions into the inner heart sequence maps from the games once the character is low on stocks or there's not a whole lot of time left. So it's really cool to see that, from all the intros from the games. You even play through it for a lot of it. And then they did add variations for it for almost all of the main characters. So you have one for Sora, obviously the playable character, Riku, his best friend, Xion, who's one of the heartless versions of Sora, Terra, Ventus, Aqua, all from Birth by Sleep. And then, of course, my personal favorite, Roxas, who I think has the coolest moveset. He's going to come up in just a few seconds on the spiral. But as you can see, it has, so many different elements from the game where you can really tell the amount of attention to detail that they went into making this, and, making it feel like it's true to the IP, but also something that the fans are going to really resonate with. Because, if you grew up with these games like I did, it just, when you saw this come on stage, here's Roxas. When you saw this come on screen, it's just, God, it's butterflies, it's explosions, it's everything within your heart that is just, it's the perfect recreation of this game, and I'm so excited to play this.
I know that I've always enjoyed the levels in Smash Brothers that are sort of like Disney rides, where they take you around a big, something iconic, and you float around on a stage very much like this, with something cool in the background. I've always enjoyed those. There's some Star Fox levels like that I really like. Let's jump on over to his actual gameplay of Sora versus Sephiroth. I actually have not seen this yet, so all of my reactions will be actually 100% just watching this go on. But this is actually the gameplay we're talking about, which appears to be a 1v2. So they're already coming out the gate saying Sora can 1v2, don't worry about it. What are you guys seeing here that looks interesting for you?
So when I was watching ESAM's video, the first comment he makes out of any of this gameplay is that Sakurai is getting bodied, and yeah, he's kind of getting bodied right now. But I mean, it's interesting too, right? I mean, we talked about early on, and I know Piranha Plant was the first DLC character to really come out of the game, sort of. But he was a heavy character. He had a lot of zoning and a lot of setup time. But look how far we've come in just a few years with these DLC characters. Because Sora's a lot lighter, a lot floatier, has zoning capabilities with their neutral special, but yet can provide a really aggressive output up close and personal, just like that. And Sephiroth is gone.
Yeah, that was a 3-hit combo into something or other. There's another 3-hit combo. Now he's got his final smash here, which I don't know if we're going to see.
Comes.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Get
There they
locked
go.
away!
Hi, guys. No more. You did.
Back to Final Fantasy VII for you.
And then, of course, he has to strike the pose at the end, just to style on everybody.
Oh, then here's the Sephiroth final smash.
We see every single final smash here, I think, right?
Yeah,
we
it looks
do.
like up. Yep. Well,
Yeah, here
maybe.
comes Clouds in a second. Right there.
Is this Clouds from Advent Children? Yeah.
That's
I mean, I'm sure
Omni
it's from like a.
Boom.
I'm sure it's from like a further back one, but that was the first time I saw it was Advent Children. It's such a cool one. Okay, well he's 2v1.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this gameplay actually is that they kind of made the fight be against Cloud and Sephiroth, and those are
Was
two
that a
of
side
the
B? Yeah,
hardest
that was a
fights.
side special.
Yeah, that's a Sonic
The
Blade.
Sonic Dash. Yeah.
It's a good approach.
Sorry, you were saying.
So what's interesting? Yeah, so it's the fights against Cloud and Sephiroth are two of the hardest fights in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. If you ever did the Colosseum on Hercules' world, Cloud doing his dashes was if you played it, you know what pain is. And then, of course, Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2, just, again, one of the hardest fights right after, you go into, it's the same area where you fight, like, I think it's like 1,000 Heartless at the same time. Just like this freaking view of, just the Heartless fortress in the background. And you're fighting against the ultimate bad guy in Sephiroth. It's just, I don't know. I thought it was so perfectly fitting to be the gameplay reveal for this.
I thought that the gameplay of the Sephiroth and Cloud versus Sora kind of illustrated pretty perfectly what we were talking about, where he wants to control a small area around him, and he was hitting those 3-hit combos, and especially in the air, like you were saying. So they're exemplifying that. He was hitting both of them and finishing off with the 3-hit combo. So that's pretty wild, and I think that you guys kind of nailed it on the head on his playstyle and his strengths and his weaknesses within the Smash game. So I'm really, really excited to see what actually ends up happening for him in the professional side. Let's jump on over to our final thoughts. Max, I'm going to start with you. Sora, esports, Smash Brothers Ultimate, how are we feeling?
I think Sora's going to find a good spot inside of the final iteration of Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't think it's going to be the most top-tier player in the game, but I definitely think it's going to be used at a top-tier level by some of the people who put in the most amount of work, put in the most amount of effort, and find the most amount of success with Sora. That being said, though, it's hard to say because there could be nerfs in the future, but given that the character hasn't even really come out yet, that's way too far down the line. But overall, Darren, to put it all very in a nice little bow, I do think Sora has a lot of potential in Smash Bros. Competitive.
Alan, your final thoughts?
I mean, I'm excited. As a Smash fan, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, this is like exactly what I've been asking for years. So just seeing him actually be a part of the game and done in a way where you could really tell that there was a lot of love and care and attention to detail put into it. It's a dream come true.
Alan, Max, thank you so much for joining me today on Port to Esports. And for more IGN Compete content, good luck right here on our YouTube.